Yes, hello and welcome everybody, all five of you. Happy holidays, happy Father's Day, wherever you are, whatever you're doing. Happy weekend. I hope everybody's having a great time. This is CM Kozman, your host as usual. And it's been a while since we had these YouTube streams. I have been slowly changing into a format on YouTube where I get to make short, interesting story videos instead of big hour-long documentaries, which they are not completely gone, but just this time of the year and like this phase of my workload, I'm just going to go ahead with those for a bit. Gavin Tidwell says hello. Well, hello everybody. If you're watching this on a YouTube recording later, I'm going to once again shill. And today we got many interesting things to talk about and many cool things to show you, such as this incredible Dune knife I made from a piece of bone I found. RoboTiti says, hello there, Mr. Kozeman. I hope everything is all right. Hello, my friend. YJ says hello. Caden Slinker says hello. Blake Richardson says hello. I hope I probably won't be able to stay for long. Thank you. Have a nice day. Kapovich says hello. Dan McAleer says hello. 9 people in the house. Ooh. Lots of hearts coming in. Today is Sunday. I completely went out of my mind. Just some guy with a gas mask says hello. You are a first-time viewer or first-time commenter, I believe. Well, why don't you get settled in? Call all your friends on your Discords and everything, and then we can really get going with the questions and answers. I really miss these conversations, and yeah. Today is Sunday. Fuck, how did the time... Oh, well, you know. I think it's on the overall, if you're forgetting what day it is, you're either in a very good place or a very bad place, and I'm not in a very bad place. Knock on wood. Popular says, hi. Cup of Void says, okay, just you wait. Call your friends. Go on your Discords or whatever you go on, and let's get the show started. Oh, I got some surprises to show you. While you wait, you can look at these drawings I've made, these watercolors, and a couple nights ago, I went outside, and turns out there's a lot of millipedes and isopods and shit just hanging out in the garbage. So I took 2 of these professional Tupperware, they're not Tupperware, they're these plastic things, and they're very clean. And I made these little micro habitat things for, like, these things naturally occur in Istanbul streets. So here we got these millipedes. You can see they're chilling out here. Really nice, slick, thin-bodied millipedes. You can see one here, I believe. Yeah. And here you got this very interesting Istanbul variety of isopods. And they have these... Okay, I'm going to show you carefully. They have these really nice sulfur patches on their backs. They're quite big. They're gray. I don't know what species they are, but this Istanbul variety has this unique color, which I've noticed, and they're really gorgeous. Just look at these fuckers. They don't even care. They're just chilling out. Unbelievable. I am going to move them to a bigger container, the millipedes too, but why don't you just look at these fuckers? and enjoy them while I go grab some tea. Look at just it's dead realistic. Look at this thing. I gave them bananas, peach, cucumber, mm, banana tree leaf sheets, bits of cellulose in the form of just paper tissue. They're having a great day. They've been shitting too. They've been eating and shitting. This is their poop. Sorry. This is their poop. Robotipi says, wanna eat them? Well, not for not for eating, but this Istanbul variety of isopods, I really wonder. They're really easy to culture, and if you know anything about the isopod hobby, people are always looking out for the next new morph. Now, this thing could be a really common thing, or maybe it's unique to Turkey. Who knows? Okay, enjoy them. I'll be back. Yeah, these streams are kind of sad without my family cat around, which you may not know, but it died. So I just took some new pets to hang out with me. Like one way you can tell these guys are comfortable is from the way they don't move much. Rest in peace, Ananem. Gaja says F. Cauliflower says, look at it go. Okay, now I'm packing these away. How have you been, everybody? All of my Turkish friends, happy Bayram. This is the name uncolonized Muslims give to what Muslims who have at one point have been subjects of imperialist powers called Eid al-Adha, but we don't do that here. In the Turkish world, it's Bayram, all the way from the Balkans to the Far East, it's called Bayram. So happy Bayram. It's a nice festive occasion, and to be honest, fate or lack of it has nothing to do with it. I'm always happy when there's a religious holiday or festival and people are out there celebrating or enjoying life. It's one of these nice communal rhythms that add meaning to life. Rest in peace, Ananem, says Blake Richardson. Thank you. Now I've been having lots of gifts from you guys too. Robotipi here gifted me this Ukrainian concentrated milk paste, which I'm going to enjoy in space of in lieu of dinner today, because this being Bayram, I went to an incredible meat restaurant. I splurged out a little. So I had this dish. Imagine, if you will, a bed of buttered rice, okay? And it's the good kind of rice, the kind of like thick, wholesome rice. And the top is layered with slices of meat, red meat, mutton. And then I had a glass of ayran to top that off. Really, best part of the world for eating. Yes. So for dinner, I'm enjoying Robotipi's gift, the Ukrainian milk concentrate. What does the title say? I can read Greek, but I can't read Cyrillic. Is this Moloko or something like that? What is Anneannem, says Cadence Slinkers. Anneannem was the moniker I gave to my parents' cat, Kadrina, during these shows, where I would have her on my arms and say, Anneannem, acıktı anneannem, yemek yaptı anneannem. And anneannem means my grandmother. It's a endearing way to name a cat. And that was the name that stuck. So people used to call the cat Anneannem, even though her real name was Kadrina. She had a name. No, she later passed due to natural causes. She actually first went blind. And it was a really tragic 2 months when she was like totally blind. Then her other organs also stopped working. Benny says, it says milk with sugar. Probably, yeah, because it's got this lovely, savory, sweet taste. And I'm just going to finish it all. Where are you all hailing from? Let me know in the comments so we could get this conversation going. Also, as a little gift to myself, last May, when I was in a rural place, I was trekking and I found this bone fragment. I took it to one of Istanbul's best knifesmiths, Selim Khan, and asked him to sculpt it into a knife for me. And he sharpened it into a knife. It's got all these like classic knife notches here. And the best thing about it is you can really hold it like this way and go like chat, chat, chat, spa. Or you can just flip it, and this articulation really goes with your hand. Like if someone tries to grab you, you can just stab them. So that's a good thing. And then with this way, by holding it thus, you can go bam. Eh. Caden Slinker, hello from Alabama, USA. Gaja, Ave from Poland, nice Polish friend here. Blake Richardson is from Michigan, USA. Yeah, I hope you liked my Dune knife cosplay. I have been watching, actually, this is a silly thing, and I have been watching these World War II knife fighting tutorials. And let me clear it from the outset. I have no intention of getting into any knife fight or gunfight or, because everywhere I read about this, they say you only have a true knife fight once. And when you do, you hope you win. But that being said, so when you're fighting with a knife, turns out you're not like this, but you have to be on your toes. So you have to be like this. And then you have to like put all your body strength into the thrust from your body and the leg. There's also a thing you can do where, bam, you just stretch your arm straight. And it's a really nice exercise. So in the mornings, I'm flailing around with this thing. I used to like use a kitchen knife and stuff, but that was dangerous. So now I got my little Dune dagger, Mayday knife, chip and shatter. Also, of course, we have to do the traditional, what was it? The bad guy, Elvis. What's his name in the Dune movie? Fade El Ratua cosplay. But you won't see me stabbing handmaidens like he did. Yes. Whoop. Benny is from Germany. Lots of comments coming up. Ellie Brooks says, it's stream time, enjoy. Yeah, so there's a nice shape to this thing. Look, I'll stop praising this dagger, but when you do it like this, it's like almost like the finger bone of a pterosaur. So you can hold it like this, and it's like, yeah, cool. Also, a cool thing with this thing is you store it this way, and heaven forbid, if imagine it's like a real duel or something, and it can damage on the first strike. So as you draw it, you just hit up like swa. And then the first blow as you draw goes to your enemy's neck. Knife fighting lessons from Daddy Kozman. Pepular says, still from Dago. Capo Void is from Ankara. I hope my sound and video connection is okay, by the way. Okay, I'm putting this away now. I'm also putting my zero budget pets away. They're really cool. I'm really happy with these guys. Benny says, is that a nazar above your door? Yes. That's a evil eye thing, and if it was up to me, it would not exist. I have this phobic aversion to beads and amulets. I don't like seeing them around. They disgust me. Funny, huh? I mean, I could like touch a lot of unsavory animals or objects or textures, but like these little beads, dislocated buttons, little loose coins, they really disgust me. And this thing actually fucking disgusts me too. I try always to angle the thing below so it doesn't crop up. I think it's a silly, pointless sign. It's a pointless symbol. Yeah, it's meant to ward you off from, this thing is meant to ward you off from evil stares of people who don't wish you well. Since historically, this part of the world has been one where low does not care for that much, does not count for that much. So it's an insecure community, insecure society. So people resort to magic. Upsandfish says, long time commenter, condensed milk. Well, how is summer going, everybody? And like, how are things? Any questions? Any interesting stories you'd like us to discuss tonight? Let's pitch them on. 20 minutes in. The day is 16th of June, 2024, Sunday. Yeah. 18 people watching. I'm curious if you're trying to send messages, but okay. Yeah, they're coming in. Sorry. Benny says, I'm starting to get bored from too much free time. Oh, well, if only I had that kind of boredom. I guess I won't have that. Yeah, look, when you're bored, enjoy it. I've been working as an advertiser, and in the advertising industry, there used to be these polls, really dumb polls, actually. where they always asked target demographics, like teenagers, housewives, or whatever. They always asked teenagers, what's your most common emotion? And up until the late 2010s, that emotion was boredom. Teenagers were always feeling bored. And then sometime after 2015 or something, the chief emotion for teenagers became depression and even darker things like self-harm or hopelessness. And it's really dark and grim. So the moral of the story is, if you're bored, savor every moment of the boredom. Emotions like boredom, well, boredom isn't an emotion, but like things like boredom or even sadness also contrast with the nice parts of our lives and actually secretly but silently give them value. So there. Have you ever thought about creating a Udemy class on paleo art, says Void. Actually, no, I like the name Udemy because it's a name I can like shout out at a random stranger when she's getting money from the ATM, and at her most vulnerable, I could just go up to them and said, Udemy. And that's gonna make me experience some interesting emotions really quick. Jokes aside, no, I'd rather have YouTube tutorials, videos on YouTube as tutorials. And actually, if you go to this channel's video section, there are some really nice paleo art, screen toning, line art tutorials, and a lot of other things. Let's check some messages. Ethan Elappa says, nice haircut, King. Thank you. It used to be much longer. I think it was a phase. The long hair did look good, but yeah, I think you can't beat the good old buzz cut. I had this in the village of Kocaköy in Western Turkey, a rural part, and it cost me literally $2. $2. Just number 4 buzz cut. Zzz. But I was sad to let my big afro go. Actually, I saved some of it in an envelope. If anybody wants my hair, I can mail it to you. You have to join me on Patreon, though. If you're on Patreon and you want some of my hair for any reason, I could ship it to you. Gaja says, would you say hi to the Surreactor guy who translated all tomorrows into Polish and introduced me to your book? My dear friend, my heart and salute goes out to you. Thank you. You have really done God's work. Thank you for your selfish contribution. And all around the world, actually, there are people who translate all tomorrows into Chinese, Arabic, Turkish, Polish, Portuguese, Spanish, French. I never expected something like this. So yeah. Hello to the guy who translated all tomorrows into Polish and allowed Gaja to get in touch with this channel. And now here we are. Benny says, honestly, I feel like sometimes people kind of manipulate themselves into depression, if that makes any sense. At least I kind of did for a while, but I don't know how to explain it well. Well, yeah, look, in this day and age, I think depression and mental issues are more prevalent than ever. But because of this, they're also being considered as serious illnesses or serious situations. And especially more so as your socioeconomic standing goes up. So if you have like college educated parents, or if you're doing reasonably well, if the kid says, "Oh, I'm depressed," the parents are more likely to treat that as like something serious, "Oh, what if they're suicidal and stuff?" And it sort of becomes this like self-propagating feedback loop where as a kid or as a son or a daughter, you are treated like you're undergoing some sort of emergency. And let us not kid ourselves, the ego of a person is a rapacious beast. So he and she notices how this is treated seriously. So when they want to be taken serious, the next time they convince themselves they're even more depressed than they really are. This is not to underplay clinical depression or suicide attempts and stuff like that. Heaven knows, those things are taking place around me and shit. But there's also like a kind of bleeding edge to this, pun intended. Yes. So there. Benny says, speaking of the haircut, it looks like the hairline is starting to come back. Yeah, I think it's gonna be this way for another 10 years. Then we'll see. Slotman Peter Griffin, incredible name, says, "Hello, CM. Hello, my friend. I am drawing to make a book on a biblical story of what happened outside the afterlife, and it is about angels and demons, basically an unknown immortal entity, harvests their immortal existence and uses it to destroy large universe known as the Ultraverse. Any thoughts for this kind of writing for my manga comic?" I think you are using autocorrect and you said something like mange comic. And mange is a disease in animals where they lose their hair. So that's funny. I don't know. You have to write the story from beginning to the end first, then adapt it to whatever format you're doing. And don't commit to the story. Don't commit to the project. Don't start drawing it unless you have the story ready, end to end. Benny says, this thing about being taken seriously is, I think, a big part, referring to the self-fulfilling prophecy of depression. I think sometimes teenager thinks adults kind of have to be sad and serious, and since children tend to want to be adults, they emulate them. True. I think along similar lines, but I don't want to commit to a statement that would maybe downplay some real serious issues too. This remains, though, and I could say this comfortably, modern parents, that is to say parents of Gen Z and Gen Alpha kids, they really look at everything in a clinical way, but sometimes a kid is just bullshitting around. I think these generations as parents are going to be like, I don't know. In some ways, they're the best parents. In some ways, they're the worst parents. Benny says, of any advice on photographing art from colored pencils? I recently started using more colors, but the photos look weird. Yes, buy a scanner. Those things are cheap. Like, let's go to B and, okay, we're going to buy scanners with you now, okay? And I'm going to share. Yeah. So can you see this? We're going to look for a scanner now at B&H, which is America's best electronics vendor. These people have an enormous mega store in New York City, and they're like Santa and they're little elves, but every elf is in a yarmulke. It's operated by Orthodox Jews. It's a great store, and I bought my legacy camera from there on a trip years and years ago. This is over 10 years old now. So let's go to B&H and let's look at scanners. No, that's scanners. Scanners. Look, there's flatbed and document scanners. If you're an artist, you need a flatter, but something smaller. Yeah, this is a good bet. Canoscan Liddy, and the price is around $80. Okay. I'm not affiliated with B&H or Canon in any way, but I've got one of these, maybe even a lower model, and it does its job. And look, it goes up to 800 DPI. You know what that means? So here's a trick when you're doing scanning, okay? I can show it on this computer because I don't have Photoshop here. But you know how you can resize images, right? You scan an image at 600 DPI. Like you get this at 600 DPI, okay? And then in the Photoshop resize mode, you can also change the resolution. Now the standard for image resolution is 300 because that's the resolution in which images are printed. And if you got that, you're okay. But if you scan at multiples of 300, like 600, 1200 or stuff like that, you can actually enlarge a small image. So you can take a small portion of this thing and 600 DPI, change it to 300, and then increase the image size to, if it was 3 centimeters, make it 6 centimeters, and just blow it up. Works really well. Jerry Caleb says, we need scanners that can hook up to phones or tablets. Well, yeah, but that's a secret thing. That's a secret thing because one of the secret plagues of this age is that everybody has access to a smartphone, but comparatively fewer people have access to a computer. And this is a big difference because a computer makes you master of your own data. A smartphone is an opaque box of interlocking opaque apps, and you're basically, that tool is using you, But if you have a computer, you can save your data, you can organize your data, you can then learn to organize your life, you can start projects and finish them. You can spend dedicated quality time with your computer. And it makes you value your creations, value your photographs, value what you write, It's not the same. Technically, there's no difference, but it's not the same with the handheld phone experience. You can't really save your photos, or they're in the iOS cloud or some shit. You can't really edit them. You can, a phone is only a gateway through another locked-in phone universe thing. So no, get a computer. I know it's not cheap, but invest in it. Get a computer, get a scanner. Scanners aren't really cheap either, but they're not really pricey either, Kyra Fiskroff, longtime friend of this channel, says, I have a Canon printer scanner, but the maximum scan resolution is 600 dpi. 600 is okay. My scanner back home also goes to 600 max, and it's all you need. Like with 600 dpi, if you enlarge it, if you switch it to 300 and enlarge it, you can literally see this the size of your screen, and you can see individual paint grains and stuff. It's really wonderful. Maybe I could do a tutorial about that. All right, let's check some messages and stop the screen. The channel says, greetings from Turkey. Greetings and iyi bayramlar. The channel. The channel. Yeah. Kyra Fiskroff says, iPhone photos can be saved into the computer with a USB cable. Yes, yes. I personally hate smartphones, but you shouldn't. But yeah, as long as you have a computer that's your main base, you can attach a phone to it, you can attach anything to it. What have you been thinking about the latest series of short, weird story videos I'm doing on YouTube? If you've been following them, by the way. I had a number of them, actually. I'm not going to play them here, of course, but I've noticed that in these streams, I read a lot of weird books and like tell you a lot of weird stories from the things I know. So I've been changing those into short format videos. Just a second. God damn, the computer is so hot. Streaming heats up this computer. Wait, I need to... Oh. I had a metal plate here to put under the computer to help it cool down. Let me bring a pan over. Give me a second, everybody. A shorts? No, these are not YouTube shorts. These are like actual videos that are short in length. Oh, let me share the screen again. Look, there are videos like this. Actual videos. So I won about the Turkish legend, about the haunted horse that gave birth. I have one about a horse-stealing demon girl. We have one from the Mosquito community. These are an ethnic group living in Central America. It's an odyssey into the Mosquito afterlife. And we got an interesting fake parasite magic snake trick from an Italian doctor's memoirs of his time in Libya. Just fantastic stuff. I just want you to know, if you've been watching those, you didn't get notifications, well, click the goddamn bell icon. Capo, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Void, Jerry Caleb says, I just upload everything to the Google Drive. And then as a response, Benny says, I would be careful with that because most companies are starting to use personal data for AI training. Yes. I use Google Drive too, but look, I mean, in this day and age, they're going to use something for, like, there's no escape. Even I think this video will be, there's a clause in the contract, and I don't mind that. But that being said, in the Adobe Creative Suite users contract, there's this famous clause that apparently they own anything you make on the thing, and they're going to use them to train AIs. Yeah, that's a bit too much. RoboTP says, the first video caught me off guard. I started laughing frantically in the middle of the office as I listened to your house that gave birth story. Well, yeah, thank you for listening. Hayal Ece Güler. Wow, okay, great. Long time online and real life friend. Hey, I won't be here for long. I wanted to stop by and say hi. Heart, iyi akşamlar. İyi akşamlar and iyi bayramlar. Cheers from my part of the world to yours. Okay, the heating stopped, so I don't think I need to grab a metal plate to put under my computer anymore. Kyra Fiskroff appears to be indulging in Dadaist or surrealistic poetry and says, C.M. Kozeman eating mutating spaghetti while riding a colorful kahidron, sprouting a tree-like erection from a beak that was grossly misshapen anyways. Well, okay, I don't know where you're going with this comment, but okay. Okay. Benny says, sometimes I feel like companies are driving people to pirate their stuff with all these kinds of policies. Well, look, I'll only say this much. There are illegal things, there are immoral things. There are things that are technically illegal, but are absolutely not immoral. In fact, certain things, it's actually moral to be illegal. I mean, back a few hundred years ago, freeing slaves was illegal, but it sure as hell was moral. Obviously, you can't collate slavery with pirating software, but yeah, I mean, look, we reached this point where certain companies, are they really about the customer at all? That's why I think like shareholder capitalism should be curtailed and there should be severe limitations against it. I would never try to change the free market system into like a weird baroque enforced socialized one, but corporate personhood and shareholder capitalism are evil acts, evil systems. They need to be expunged. So yeah, with maximum prejudice. And this goes on to show, like, many people think, oh, is it capitalism or communism? Which system is the better? Look, God damn it. This life thing is all about people. When you have a system, it doesn't matter if it's capitalism or communism or if it's like C.M. Kozeman worship or like, I don't know, frog races or whatever, you know? If you have a system, eventually it attracts parasites, people learn the workings of the system, they become a menace, and the only way to overcome that is to overhaul the system every 3 generations or something. And obviously, something like that used to happen, but in this day and age, technology makes anyone with power so strong. Remember, look, before computers, if you had, let's say you're a tax collector or you're like a government and you relay an order, you want to make sure every ferret on the ferret farms is killed because there might be a plague. And this is exactly what happened in COVID, by the way. 50 years ago, they would write you a report saying, okay, we killed them all, but actually maybe accept bribes so a few farms would survive, you know? This day and age, people are hooked into this machine and they become parts of this machine. So anything the central power says, tells people to do, gets done. That's actually very rare. That was very rare in the past. So because of that, power is entrenched, more entrenched than ever. And I don't know, like the way things are heading, they're exhausting every healthy option of a blowout, and they're just kicking the bucket down the line. And like when that pressure builds up, it could be dangerous. Absent Fish says, I pirate a lot of things. I see no point in buying a book if the author is no longer with us. I only buy stuff I know I will enjoy. Yeah. Libgan.is is all I will say on the matter. Robotipi says, entropy is the perfect system. At the end, all systems will be defeated to entropy. I think it's a tautology to call entropy a perfect system because it's the absence of a system. But anyways, I don't want to get too semantic and philosophical with these things. Yeah. Benny says, what do you think about European elections? I'm really worried how much more popular right-wing parties are getting and how many people don't vote at all. It is disconcerting, but throughout, like, I mean, I was just talking about this stupid decision during, I think it was in Belgium or Sweden, in one European country. They annihilated all of their mink farms and they gassed millions of animals. And they destroyed one of their own industries. Just because there was suspicion that maybe COVID could have shifted to mink or whatever. They destroyed their industries. They left those people in the dirt. I mean, with friends like this, who needs enemies? Current rulers, I believe, current political manager types, I mean, there's no better facilitator for right-wing parties than those because they're so dumb, so inept, selfish, arrogant. They think the whole world must live like college-graduated white-collar workers, but that's impossible. They're blind. I think they're the worst ruling class to rule anything. And, you know, with rulers like that, you should not be surprised that people turn to more visceral alternatives. And never forget, this is always the default of any society. Not Europeans, not Asians, not Middle Eastern, not whatever. any society, okay, in an international level, they're nationalists. In a domestic level, they're socialists. This is how always all human societies work and function. Put those together, what do you get? Yes. Gavin Tidwell says, have you ever considered doing more improvised stories like the Blue Crystal Hotel? Yes, the Blue Crystal Hotel was a weird story. I basically was stuck in traffic. And I always carry this little sound recorder with me because you never know when you might want to blackmail someone, you know? And so I just came up with this weird fantasy story and I spoke into this during my ride. Then I got home, took a shower, finished the story, then just popped it up into YouTube. The sound quality is shit, but it's one of the most popular videos on my channel. People love that kind of stuff. So yeah. Maybe. I mean, I got lots of stories in my head. I'm now focusing on, so my YouTube grant strategy. Let me share it with you, okay? Grand strategy for CM Kozman YouTube channel, where we're heading in the future and shit. So this is my YouTube channel, okay? Okay. On one end, there will be short stories, but from like real weird historic stories from the books I've been reading. These will be like 10-minute videos and stuff like that. On the other hand, there will be big star research videos like the 7-part World Frogs Extravaganza or Creatures of Half-Life and shit like that. So these will be like 1 to, how do you do 2 upside down? 1 to 2 hours, okay? I'm still gonna do those. Actually, if you look at this channel, and I am recording on June 2024, one of the last videos I did was a 3 or even 4 hour long live reading of one of the strangest books ever, the Testament of Solomon. So we'll keep having things like that. Plus, we will be having urbexing videos. I mean, I'm still editing some of those, and I think they're a bit like, oh, sorry, I'm writing upside down, so they're like 30 minutes each, okay? So that's my grant strategy. Now to this, maybe we can add improvised stories like the Grand Crystal Hotel. But yeah, if you liked it, many people also liked it. So thanks for enjoying my stuff. Let's colorize this incredible strategy slide, because we're all corporate and shit over here. When you paint your notes, it feels really cool. What color should urbexing be? Maybe yellow. Yes. So that's the future of this channel right here. That is to say, not much different from what I've been doing for the past 10 years. Yeah. Let's check some messages. 24 people watching. Thank you, everybody. Thank you so much. Benny says the rise in political right-wing parties and the ineptitude of ruling parties are not surprising. I'm wondering what could be done about it. I might be mistaken, but it feels like stories just before the Second World War. I agree. I've been reading a lot of memoirs of people from before the Second World War and the First World War, actually. I think our current era is more similar to the time just before the First World War, where there's something in the air, tensions are really high, nobody can quite put a finger on it, but something wicked is really coming this way. I don't know how it will pan out. Like, whatever I say can be wrong. I hope everybody gets through this okay. Anunnaki Crown says, I love you, Mr. Cosman. You're a huge inspiration. Thank you. Messages like this really make my day. Thank you so much. Benny says, I never thought about making proper plans for creative work. I should try that. Don't plan, okay? Make a list of what you've done so far and maybe streamline that list. That's all planning you should do. You shouldn't make up these like 5-year plans of like, I'm going to do this, do that, because like this, as soon as you start talking about it or writing it down, other things get in the way. But you can have like a list of what you've been doing, what you're good at, and maybe you can refine it. Maybe focus your energy and time on the thing that you're the best at doing or you enjoy the most. So yeah. Gavin Tidwell says, Mr. Cosman, do you have any advice on how to enjoy art more? I used to love drawing and inventing creatures when I was young, but then I got burnt out and got cluttered with other interests. How old are you, if I may ask? I think something maybe early 20s. If that is the case, the early 20s are actually a good time to be cluttered with other interests. Okay, 19, yes. You should don't worry too much about losing something which you thought you had before. Try everything and like experiment with everything. I don't know, try comics, music, whatever. You will come back at it. If you really like something, you will come back at it in 5 years, 6 years. But yeah, for these 5 and 6 years, just fuck around and find out. It's the best time of your life. Don't regret not doing something because you're really in the beginning of the journey. And yeah. Antoine says, I want to write science fiction. What do I think? What do I do to be at least half as good as you are? Well, man, thanks for holding me in such high regard. Read a lot. Read actual books cover to cover. And I'll show you actually. Look. This is what I've been reading this month, okay? These 2 books. Now, I have a thing. When I start reading a book, I always finish it. You have to read books cover to cover. This is the best training to be a writer. When you read actual books cover to cover and you read actual dead books cover to cover, sorry, but listening to audiobooks doesn't count. When you read books cover to cover, it really works into your brain. And this one book I just finished reading, you don't have to like rush through it, but you have to read it cover to cover. And so as you can see, I started reading this on the 16th of April and finished reading it today, actually. And it's one of the best high fantasy science fiction books ever. It's about a future of the Earth so remote that you don't know where magic ends and where technology begins. and the characters are incredible. The settings, the guy really paints with words. I mean, look, here's just one segment. Along the road, rolling at high speed on four tall wheels, came a luxurious double divan of 15 golden ochre cushions. A man like creature attached by a chain ran behind in the dust. What's going on in here? This is an incredible book. So I read this from cover to cover. But if you're going to be a science fiction writer, you're going to have to read things outside the world of science fiction. So you're original. That's why this current book I'm just reading now is the memoirs of an Ottoman journalist named Basiretçi Ali Efendi. And he published a newspaper called Basiret. And it's a short memoir. It covers his life from 1866 to 1908, and it's a time of wars, revolutions, and general breakdown for the Ottoman Empire. And he runs into lots of problems with censorship. I mean, there's this one incredible scene where, just a second. Where the Grand Vizier of Istanbul, who is essentially like the prime minister of the time, summons the author to the palace and basically warns him not to critique the Sultan, whose name was Abdulhamid II. And then he sticks to his guns, but then there's an assassination attempt on Abdulhamid. So now they grab this guy again and take him to the palace, take him to one palace. And there he has this one anecdote saying, like, one of the serious suspects was tortured using a sperm whale wax candle. And there was this one guy who like stick a burning candle into this other guy's eye and blinded him. And then the next day he was just killed and buried and nobody cared about him. This is like a scene from the Harkonnen family in the Dune series. So dark. But also, like, when you read these things, they stick with you. In real life biographies, people's concerns are really simple things, like this guy just wants to publish his newspaper. But the adventures they have to get that simple thing are incredible. So read historic memoirs and read science fiction. Don't read fiction. I'm not a big fan of fiction. These like plausible sounding normie people in plausible sounding normie situations, but not real. Get the fuck out of here. I hope this helps. Antoine says, I love medieval fantasy and science fiction. I finished The Three-Body Problem by Liu Jixin, and I'm reading The Royal Assassin, Book 8. Well, I haven't read either. Enjoy. Antoine, following his question with now advice of his own, saying, go to the library, pick up a few books that you find interesting, and start reading. If the book is boring, you switch until you find the one. Interesting. My adage would be to, if you start a book, read it to the end. It's a boring book, maybe, But always make a habit of reading to the end. But that's just my perspective. Almost an hour long. Benny says, where do you find all these memoirs? I prefer digital since I don't want people seeing what I read. Interesting. I never had that concern. I'm like an exhibitionist. I like wear this on my sleeve, or I wear that on my sleeve, you know. But maybe get a Kindle and then go to libgen.is. I don't know. In bookshops, usually there's a whole section for memoirs. So go take your pick. Ion Nomane says, what's up, Mr. CM Kozeman? From the way you say CM with SIYEM, I take it you're a Turkish friend. Happy holidays. Bayramın kutlu olsun. God. I had a nice big walk around the city today. I had this big ass meat dish. It was this dish. Look. Look. Just look. Are you ready to see what Daddy Kozman ate? Okay, wait. I had this. Pilav üstü döner. Slices of red meat over a bed of rice. Best. Best. Pixel Platypus says, yum. Okay. I'm going to call it a night in a bit, but thanks to everyone for joining me tonight. Kare Fiskroff says, looks tasty. Did you have any sauce with it? No. No sauce. Meat is its own sauce. If you really want to like go balls deep though, you go to this thing, which is called Iskender Döner, which is, let me find you a good image. Okay, are you ready? The best, like one level higher than pilav üstü döner, is this thing called Iskender Döner. And it's basically meat shavings again, but it's on a bed of pita bread. And the whole thing is drenched with butter, molten butter. Now that's the sauce. And then it's got a side of yogurt. And if you really want, you could have some like tomato or garlic sauce. Yeah. Pixel Platypus says, no sauce needed, of course. How would they know? How would they know? Benny says, it's like Turkish döner, right? I heard they don't put them in bread. When you get döner or gyros or shawarma in bread, it's a legacy cuisine reduced to drunkard snacks. So no, never get it that way. It's a like legacy meal. You're meant to enjoy it on a big plate. And you're gonna sit down like a civilized person and eat it that way. And it just keeps you going for a day and a half. It's just so good. Benny says, I really like the way they make doner in Germany. Okay, well, look, you unlocked Pandora's box now. We are going to talk about food. There's no escaping it. I'll tell you my. So imagine I sell a painting, or like there's a big thing to celebrate. Absent Fish says, thanks for the stream. Have to go now. Good night. Good night, my friend. Pixel Platypus says, as a Greek, gyros in bread is sacrilege. Yeah. Kalinichta, my Greek friend, by the way. Okay, I'll show you the kind of food I get, and when I really want to reward myself. Okay, are you ready? It's called the Sinop Mantı, and all you simps are going to be gushing now when you see this picture. Where is it, though? I'm trying to find a good picture. Okay. Just a second. Okay, I found a picture that doesn't look gross, but here we go. Ooh! So, okay, it's this. Imagine ravioli, but done in a more wholesome way, like pierogi. And then they sprinkle it with ground up walnuts, and then they cover everything with molten butter or yogurt, but only half, so it doesn't choke you. Now, this is the food of gods. It's really like a wholesome experience. Really recommend this. If you come to Istanbul, we can have Sinop Mantı together. Jerry Caleb says, I once asked a Japanese immigrant what he thought of American food, and he said, you guys really like sandwiches. Yeah, that was pretty true. I guess the Japanese person was being kind and charitable. Kyle Fiskrov says, would it be sacrilege to mix those and enjoy everything together? No, you're meant to do that. You're meant to mix the two halves like yin and yang, and that's how you eat that. Literally, this makes you feel good. It makes you like you just want to sleep, and it is true. Like if you are feeling down, this makes you feel happier. All right, almost an hour and a half. Well, maybe we'll call it a short night. Any last things to say? Benny says, I really want to find a multicultural restaurant now with good food from all over the world. Find a country you like the food of and then search for a specific cuisine. Because there are these restaurants that they say, Chinese, Cantonese, Turkish, everything, blah, blah, blah, blah, blah. But all the food is shit. Like, it all ends at people. It has to be a place managed by members of that nation or that community. It has to be a mom and pop place. It shouldn't be a chain. And then you'll be happy. Cauliflower says, what's the most extraordinary dish from Turkish cuisine? Should we do it? Should we show them the forbidden foods? Turkish friends in the chat. Should we show them? Yes. Okay. We got one yes. Okay, now, yeah, let's start with, yeah, the obvious. So look, besides these amazing soul enriching foods, we also have the following. We also have mumbar, which is a kind of sausage, but a really weak and meek one, and it looks like bloody parasite someone puked onto a plate. So yeah, guilty as charged. KS says hello. Hello, you just come to the lovely part of the stream. Then we have Shirdan, which is the abomasum, or like a certain gut part of a sheep. Oh, daddy. I mean, look, this is what they look like. It's so ridiculous. Wait. Just a second. I'm trying to open the... Oh, here we are. Here we are. 12:30 in the midnight. I'm Googling some images of Shirdan, which is this thing. Forgive me, but yeah. This is like a part of a sheep's gut, and they look exactly like what you think they do. And yeah, they're really gross looking. They don't taste any better. So, make use of every part of the animal's body. So there's that. Let's also look at goat eggs, which are the testicles of a male goat, chopped up and served as a delicacy. And they look like this. Yep. They actually don't look so bad. They don't look so bad, actually. And the taste isn't so bad either. It's just like anatomically, it feels gross because you know what you're eating. It's like the French have this delicacy, a kind of ham made from a horse tongue. And horse tongues look like, as you're eating it, you feel like you're eating the mouth of a horse. So yeah, it's not the best thing. Yeah, this is what goat eggs look like. Yeah, goat eggs proudly displayed by a Turkish butcher. Pixel Platypus says, I'd eat it. Yeah, maybe. Okay, so yeah, I mean, look, to make these like soul enriching, lovely foods, you have to experiment a lot. You have to experiment with every parts of animals' bodies, and as a result, you get stuff like this. which is still healthier than a lot of things Americans or Europeans eat, but still. Okay, I'm calling it quits on the gross food orama, because let's keep a little class in this channel, huh? The channel says there are shirdowns that look more inappropriate than these. Well, yeah, I'm trying not to get the channel, not to get the stream zapped by AIs, you know? So any other questions, maybe not related to food? I'll tell you my best food in America then. Because American cuisine gets a bad rap, but actually some stuff there is quite good. Like these Culver's burgers. A lot of images. They're like great burgers made with butter, which I really, really, really, really like. Too bad though, they're not very good images of these things online. And this is, I think, like one of the best foods I look up to in the States. Let me just bring it up on the screen now. Culver's Burgers, it's a regular chicken burger, but it's done in butter. It's done in butter. It's incredible. God freaking damn. Benny says, any old films you particularly like? Yeah, actually, go look for these Giallo films. Okay, let me show you some. I'm really trying hard not to get wowed here because yeah. If you go to YouTube and look, right now on YouTube, there's this thing. Okay. There's a playlist called Giallo Films. And Giallo is this really nice, weird, colorful, surreal horror genre. And surprisingly, a lot of these movies are still online on YouTube for free. I mean, this Tenebra is a... Yeah, like...
Captain Stelmine, Homicide Squad. The book deals with a murder committed with an old-fashioned open razor. Wish I'd never written that book.
That was Tenebra. Like these films, by the way, let me set this clear. I'm not a huge gore fan. I don't like when people die. Like some of the people I dislike the worst are these horror movie fans who talk about their favorite kills. Their favorite kills. It's all about people dying. Nothing to be afraid of. But this giallo genre has a very light yet tense and stylized form of violence, which in the present day, with movies like Saw and shit, and also it's from another time. It's from another time. Look at the decoration. Look even at the way people carry themselves and the looks in their faces. You don't have actors and actresses like this anymore. There's a kind of like, I mean, if this movie was made today, maybe this woman would be played by, I don't know, Blake Lively or some shit. But notice how like people look more normal in these old films. They still look elegant. They have character. They have style, but they look more relatable and human. Almost every actor and actress is like a AI generated image in this day and age. And I mean, just look at the whoop. Just look at the decoration. There's like a glass of orange juice and these cables. Like the clothes don't really match, but they also match. I mean, like there's a sort of like real life weirdness about these films, which I'm a big fan of. Look at the setting, look at the light, look at the colors. She's not wearing a bra. Watch in terror. Yeah, I mean, like this is what I like about these things. So you could look at the Giallo Films playlist on YouTube. There's a big sandwich and burger discussion going. Gavin Tidwell says, I don't want to talk smack, but if something's breaded in a burger, I usually don't like it automatically. I agree. But for Culver's and for chicken, I make an exception. I really hate with a vengeance these places where you go get a burger and you get some fucking lemonade in a goddamn jam jar and the whole thing costs like $40. God damn, get out of here. Get out of here. For two of those, you can buy a scanner. Get the hell out. I'm not a big fan. Jerry Caleb says, maybe it's the most southern thing ever. Never heard anyone call a chicken sandwich a burger before. Nah, a chicken in a sandwich isn't a burger. Okay, well, I call it a burger because my idea of those things were formed by the McChicken burger in the 1990s. Boris Chonev says, good day, Mr. Kozman. How are you? How is the week going? I'm great. Today is a big national holiday. And my week is going great too. Lovely to see you here. Yonomane says, what do you think of veganism? I think it's a lofty ideal. I mean, factory farming is horrible, but I love meat. In an ideal world, everybody would have to slaughter their own animals and eat them. But we don't live that. We don't live there. One aspect or one thing that calls itself veganism that I don't like is like these fancy, posh, gentrified places that, hey, vegan cafe, not even our straws are plastic. Okay. Yet you pay more for a plate of lentils than you would for a Culver's burger. Most veganism is performative and it's a class display that pretends it's not one. I don't like that. But then again, there's a lofty ideal to be had in not eating meat. I wish I could do it. But you don't be a vegan by going to vegan restaurants. You just go to a normal Walmart, grab beans, cook them, and eat them. Yeah. I'm a lurker in your streams, but Culver's is local enough for us to go kind of often. And yes, it's the best here. Yes, yes, yes. Pixel Platypus says, you are incorrect, my good sir. Well, I don't know. I agree to disagree, I guess. I mean, especially in my part of the world, you can already go to any restaurant and get beans and rice. Okay, that's a big vegan staple, and just eat that. But there are certain people who would make it a point to go to the Bampy, silly, overpriced vegan restaurant and pay like an exorbitant amount of money for like some shit with avocados on it. Oh, there's a big Cosmonite burger war of 2024 going on. Pixel Platypus says, smash burgers are awful. Gavin Tidwell says, nah, smash burgers are the best. Pixel Platypus says, you are incorrect, my good sir. Okay, so that was not directed at me. It is in fact silly, but people are silly in a strange world. Who am I to tell what is right and who is wrong? Sometimes you have to step up to it, but yeah, I try to be unobtrusive too. There's something to be said about using food or aversion to food as a class and community marker, and it's almost like something like that happened before, and that's why we have things like halal and kosher. I think it's bullshit, all of it. Halal, kosher, veganism, vegetarianism, any food, lactose intolerance. Look, Providence gave you food. Enjoy it. If you don't, be quiet. Burgers are not sops to be flat, says Pixel Platypus. Okay. Benny says, lactose intolerance is a health issue, though. Yes, but you would know there are these characters who don't have it and pretend they have it. That was what my critique was addressing. Caden Slinker says, what inspired you to create Snaiad, Wayne Barlow's expedition, and this incredible 1990s dinosaur book called the Dinosaur Data Book, which really had this like family by family exposition of dinosaur species. And I wanted something like Expedition, but presented like the Dinosaur Data Book. It had all these scale diagrams of dinosaurs, and even the then obscure groups were represented. I mean, it was great. Things like this. They showed Noasaurus as a kind of Abelisaur converging with the Maniraptorans, and they had many weird drawings like this, and it was all like very slickly and realistically rendered too. So I always wanted to do something like that, but with alien organisms, and I think I did it, or I am doing it. So yeah. Yon Nomane says, Abi, I would like to see you more active in the Turkish side of media, like those recent Istanbul tours. They're so fun to watch. Okay, so I am doing this collaboration with another YouTube channel from Turkey, and with this guy, we're traveling into various neighborhoods of Istanbul, and I'm just talking about the urban details and parts of life there. It's a purely improvised trip, but that's as far as I will go. We are trying to market that into maybe a bigger show, hopefully. But let me tell you the parable of, it's almost like a cautionary tale, okay? The parable of Celal Şengör and what's the other guy? And İlber Ortaylı. Now this is aimed at our um, this is aimed at our foreign viewers, okay? Just a second. Okay, so there are these two professors. There's a historian and a geologist, both of them world famous, by the way, in Turkey, okay? And their names are Celal Şengör and İlber Ortaylı. I actually know Mr. Şengör personally. He's a world famous geologist. The other guy is a world famous historian. They're really like giants in their respective fields. Okay? Now these two people became really famous, and they started joining these talk shows where Celal Şengör got a lot of talk TV action because he's a geologist and he comments on the earthquakes which usually happen here and destroy everybody's lives. And İlber Ortaylı is a historian. So they started forming this weird synergy. They would go on these talk shows, the two of them together, and talk about everything and anything, like Alexander von Humboldt, the history of sciences, Turkish history, Turkish Republic history, Byzantine history, everything. And this would happen on like primetime TV. They got so famous, now they're getting lots of gigs. They're giving like these TED Talk style talks. But here's what they have done very recently. Okay, I'm going to show you. Now they are joining these how to make money YouTube channels and just talking about realizing your dreams or personal development, you know? So this is what the insular upside down inverted Drakaverse of Turkey reduces any person to, if they have an interest in sciences, the world, if they're curious, if they have international aspirations, doesn't matter. As long as you start getting traction in this place, this is the best option. This is the best outcome. Yeah, you make a lot of money, but these guys already had a lot of money to begin with. This is the like most. It's like being I don't know, like having a very refined field of study. I don't know if you're. It's like being a. It's like deciphering an unknown script. Okay. That at the end of the day, you get to appear on Dr. Oz or something like this. This is a very cautionary tale for myself. This is why I would actually, I am, and I will, as long as I live, actively avoid popularity in Turkey. The Istanbul tours are great. I don't dislike them. Other than that, I would avoid. I would rather have a YouTube channel with 16 people watching than million people in this insular Turkish Drakaverse. I'm an exporter of culture. I have more noble ambitions than this. Look what it reduced these two guys to. Look and take heed. In Turkish, you would say ibret alın. So, Ionomane, answer to your question, never. Asla ve katta. No, I got a good thing going. But I understand your sympathies and thank you. So there. Hope you like that. Okay, what do you think, everybody? It's like that scene in that one only good Batman movie where the Joker burns his pile of money and he says, "Relax, I'm only burning my half." Pixel Platypus says, "I can respect that." Benny says, "Honestly, that sounds like a horror story, trying to be a scientist and ending up there." Yeah, fucking yes. It's a cautionary tale. Thanks for understanding. Jerry Caleb says, when you travel to Istanbul, are you still allowed to look around in Hagia Sophia, or is it closed to the public now? No, it's open, but they actually amped up the charge to go in. You can like visit it as a museum, but also pray in the portion that is a mosque. It's a bit of a mixed bag now. I mean, if you visit, you can see it. So they made it, obviously, Hagia Sophia used to be a mosque. Then, I think in the 1920s, they uncovered these spectacular Byzantine mosaics, and it was changed into a museum. And then in 2020, it was converted back to a mosque again. Let me find you something and talk about it, actually, pertaining to the Hagia Sophia. So my opinion is that the Hagia Sophia is actually better off as a mosque. And I am not a Muslim. I've never prayed there or anywhere else. But in terms of historic continuity, this was a shrine or a temple that was in active use. It was a spiritual center of a world empire, then was a spiritual center of another world empire. And we can, of course, talk about like the quality of the people who go there to pray. But this age-old structure, I'm happier with people revering it and approaching it with a sense of the supernatural. But it should be totally free. I think it should not have any museum. It should not have any for function as a museum at all. It should be open to the public. It should not be like a pay to pray kind of mosque as it is today, I think. It should be a quiet place. The wisdom of centuries, like this picture. Some place you can seek solace. Now there's two lines in the entrance. One for the museum people, one for the mosque visitors. I think the mosque visitors don't pay, by the way, but there's like a squash to get in. It should be a quiet, forgotten part of the city almost, where you go find solace. It's my fantasy, of course. Anyways, the channel says, how do you think media in Turkey can change or improve? It can't. I don't think media anywhere can change or improve. I mean, the options in foreign countries aren't that much better. Look, places like Turkey or Italy or maybe even France, Romania, like non-Anglo countries, they always have this honey trap of insularity. It's very easy to be a big name in a place like this. But yeah. So this insularity thing is something I've like resisted all my life, and I will resist it as long as I live. 19 people watching. I hope you're enjoying, everybody. Let's change the subject from the Hagia Sophia thing and religion and politics and stuff. And let's get another question on the table. Then I slowly go to sleep. How about that? George Wittelbach, Lorraine McLarian Hoppy says, do something even more insane and cultivate an Esperanto YouTube audience? Nah, no thank you. Ionomane says, I respect your personal view, but I think it is okay for the scientist and historian guy to be popular and gain interest so they can have influence over the young, no? I don't know. I think in this day and age, people who care about science or history do get to do find what they want to know. I think there's like something really tragic about being reduced to like, I mean, you've done world-changing academic studies and you've written books, you speak 5 languages, and yet you're there talking about personal development and success to an audience of rubes. I don't like that. Pixel Platypus, what's the best Spielberg movie? Good one. Jurassic Park. Saving Private Ryan is a close second, though. Hmm. He has a bunch, I think, like artificial intelligence, AI, is a underrated one. What's your favorite place you traveled, says Gavin Tidwell. These days, it's actually the city of Eskişehir in Turkey. It's a small university town that's between Istanbul and Ankara, and these are the two biggest cities. So imagine you had like the two biggest cities, and in between them was a smaller university city that's very livable, walkable, easygoing, beautiful, affordable. I love it. I love it there. I dream about living there, and I might move there in the future. Who knows? Have you watched Jalal Shangur's debates with theology students on creationism? Yeah, it's another thing that's yani yakıştıramıyorum, you would say in Turkish. It is very unbecoming. Why are you debating evolution with a bunch of creationists? What is that good for? Will anyone change their mind? Is this how you want to be remembered? I don't want to like make any big claims, but I would like imagine a jinn came to me and said, "You either do a evolution debate with creationists, or you open an OnlyFans." I would open an OnlyFans. It's more honest, and you learn something. Void asks, how do you study fossils? Do you have any useful tools, websites? Gavin Tidwell riffs on this and says, how do you learn about paleontology? It's difficult to find any books that are comprehensive, but just straight up encyclopedias. Go get Gregory Paul's Field Guide to Dinosaurs and start from there. I just look at skeletal drawings and I actually look at fossils, photographs of fossils, and I study living animal pictures of living animals. I have a very pictorial study of paleontology, and I talk to people. Like I talk to John Conway, Darren Naish, or Mark Witten. I used to go to all the TED Zucons when I could afford to travel. So yeah. Let's look at our messages. Benny says, I used to love evolution debate videos, but now I think it wasn't about convincing anyone, it was just about feeling smart. It's also like internet blood sports. Iono Mane says, Kozum and Annie fans, let's go. We get to see naked alien drawings. Oh, no, no. If I did it, I would just be a straight up sadistic dominator, making productions with nubile, petite women with consent. I wouldn't draw, I could already draw. Okay. Kyra Fiskroff says, debating creationists is a waste of time because they have no honest intention of learning. Yes, very true. Their starting point is their rigid interpretation of Genesis. They also move the goalposts a lot, by the way. Recently, actually, there's this great channel, just a second. Let me show it to you. Clint's Reptiles. And I really, really admire the way the way this guy debates creationists. Are you ready? I mean, he straight up watches footage from.
Noted here recently, we have seen tons of evidence where we see rapid evolution occurring even in one generation. And so we see rapid evolution, rapid change happening presently, but there's a lack of change in the fossil record. What's really happening here is just a confusing of terms. So when we talk about we observe rapid evolution, talk about rapid speciation. Where we see lizards make a bunch of lizards over a period of time. Some variation of lizards say lizards. And so you can see a rapid change in a particular kind. They always say the same kind. So bottom line, we learned that lizards make variations of lizards.
Mic drop.
Now look how professionally Clint responds to this creationist. There's no name calling. He's like a Zen monk. He has no snappy comebacks. He just calmly dismantles it piece by piece.
So this video comes to us from Answers in Genesis, which is one of the young Earth creationist organizations. It's headed by Ken Ham, who you may remember from his debate with Bill Nye, which I might try to summarize at some point in the future, if you're into that kind of thing. So in the video, the speaker comments,
notice how he didn't make fun of the Answers in Genesis website, even though they're a bunch of fraudsters, and like, he's very calm.
that lizards in the fossil record are very similar to lizards alive today, but also that we observe evolution occur rapidly today. So evolution happens rapidly, but we see little change in the fossil record. We even see speciation happen rapidly, but lizards stay lizards. Rapid changes occur within a kind, but they stay the same kind. We learned that lizards make variations of lizards, and then he tosses his papers. Now, I gave a more detailed account of the creationist position in the last video when I laid out my steel man of young Earth creationism. I will say that the feedback I've received from creationists about that statement has been very positive, and I have.
Look how he like positively interacts with creationists. Like, this is recently the only worthwhile evolution debate video I've seen. There's no name calling. There's little animus. I don't think it will accomplish anything, but this is very professional. I really respect this channel and Clint for tackling this issue this way. But I think like 0 people have changed opinions throughout history as a result of a debate. People are really tribal and they really stick to things. So yes. 19 of you watching. I hope you had a good time. I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed the stream. I'm getting a bit sleepy. Any more questions? Any more comments? It's almost 2 hours. I'm gonna go say goodnight now. Any comments? I've been a fan of Clint's Reptiles for years, says Plixel Platypus. Thank you. Cauliflower says, where'd you get the haircut? Near the village of Kocaköy in Çanakkale. The channel says, sweet dreams. Thank you. Kyra Fiskroff says, internet skeptics justify their debate not through a desire to change their opponents' minds, but by exposes. Yeah, exactly. That's what I've seen in my time immersed in that part of the internet in the late 00, says Kyra Fiskroff. Yes, I remember like in the early 2000s, atheism and evolution debates were a big thing on the internet. And we all thought that like if you debate hard enough, you could convince creationists, and if you just change their minds, everybody would be secular and everybody would science hard and the world would be a better place. Not to say that I think a more secular world wouldn't be a better place. It would be, I think. But it was like a gross underestimation of the sizes and types of the problems confronting people. And I think evolution was the least worry we had. What was that YouTube movie you were talking about a few streams ago? Something about paganism. Oh, Pandas fan. Let's show that if it's on. It's on YouTube for free. Let's take a look at it. So this is you can find this on YouTube. I really recommend it. Go find it and watch it with your girlfriend or boyfriend or your significant others. It's a really great film. Really well written. Really well written. And it's all about this guy examining the work of a composer. Then he has these weird questionings of his sexuality in school. And this is his school. And he has these weird nightmares. Let me see if I can find them. Because the scenes are incredible. Here's a dream sequence, okay? Are you ready?
I believe in truth.
It's this beautiful, understated British TV movie. Really subtle, really well done, and on a shoestring budget too. Guy is sleeping. God, I mean, look, this scene, not this scene. Oh, where is it? I messed it up. Okay. The music is by the music by the composer the guy was studying. Wow. This is incredible. Incredible. With so little. The guy is questioning his sexuality, but he's also dreaming of nuclear Armageddon and this pagan god or goddess. And it all connects. You just have to watch it. You just have to watch it. Pandas fan. Let's watch more into this nightmare sequence because it's just. Notice how they're sprinkling some chemical, probably copper sulfate, into the fire as he's touching it. It's incredible. I mean, look, it's also very awkward and like student filmmaking style, but I mean, I love films like this. And then the like homosexual attraction is just like one part of the complicated theme, but just suddenly the music ends. Oh, yet this is a nightmare. Yep, this is a nightmare. Incredible stuff. Incredible stuff. These movies have more spirit than everything done under the name of Star Wars by Disney. It does look like Pazuzu from The Exorcist, but just watch. It's a papier-mâché mask. But it's just one, like this appears for 2 seconds. It's incredible how uncanny, unsettling this whole thing is. Oh. It's not there anymore. I mean, I've had nightmares like this, minus the sexual element. Well, maybe with the sexual element, but for girls, and then a demon appears. I'm sure many of you may have had them too. It really captures that weird, uncanny feeling well. And they're also building a nuclear base next door. And then his father reveals to him that he's a descendant of a pagan cult, basically. And he does research. There's actually like lots of scenes where the guy just does research and reads books. You just have to watch the thing. Pandas fan. It's incredible. KS says, lol, the thing is cute, yeah. The channel says, isn't it called Karabasan? Well, in Turkish it is. All right, everyone, I'm going to go to sleep now. Let me know which part of the world you're from and say good night. So good night from Alabama, good night from Istanbul, wherever you are. Let's say good night because Daddy Kozeman has to sleep now. Robotipi says good night from Turkey. Good night from Ohio. Yes. Good morning from Germany, says Benny. Good night from Alabama. Good night from France. Good night, everyone. And E. Bayramlar says Kapovoid. Hello from Montana, says Mark Miller. Hello, my friend. Good night from Georgia, the U.S. state, says Jenny Caleb Lowe. Jerry Caleb Foe, sorry. RoboTP says, take care, Mr. Kozaman. Dan McAleer says, good night from Scotland. The channel says, tatlı uyanışlar in an ominous face. It means happy awakenings. What will I wake up from? The 40-year nightmare that was life. Good night from the UK, says Pixel Platypus. Yeah, it's great to hang out with all of you. And if you're watching this on the YouTube recording later, thanks for staying up all the way. And I could always use a donation on Patreon or buy me a coffee. The links are below, or I will cut you. Now, you would not want to be cut, would you? You would not want to be stabbed by Daddy Kozeman's painted bone stabby stab knife. Just be careful. Boom, you stabbed.